colon hydrotherapy. This is when you go to that spa and they insert a pipe with water under high pressure to evacuate the stool which is stuck inside your colon. Now, I'm sure you've seen this online all over. So it's mostly done in spas. Yes, colon hydrotherapy can be done, and this is mostly recommended when you are going to have a medical procedure in your intestines to remove the waste that might distract the procedure. So this is done by a medical personnel who is qualified to do the same. But when you go to a spa, you don't find that person. Now, there's several things before you go and get that thing. You need to understand that most probably they're going there after the claims that they make online that, hey, you have toxic poo stuck, or maybe when you go to the washroom and you spend some time there but you don't get to empty your bowel, or after emptying your bowel you still feel that there's something still stuck. But first of all, let's get to know the dangers you're exposing yourself to, and then get to know like why or what you're supposed to exactly do, because mostly this is just treating the symptoms. Now, this is me preempting. Now, one, you are putting yourself under several risks. The first one is you are risking yourself from bowel perforation, and this is because the water that you're using is being used is under high pressure. So you risk perforating your bowel, and this is something that you actually don't need. Because if you do, you know the procedure that you're going to go through, and also you are risking yourself from something that we call septicemia, whereby, you know, in the intestines, this is where you get the manners of all kind of bacteria, fungi, viruses, but you have some which are very, very good, but they're not supposed to be found in the blood. Like for example, Escherichia coli. They are normal flora inside your gut, but then they are not supposed to move out of the gut into your blood system, because that's where they are going to establish. Another thing, which is a medical emergency, which we call septicemia. Septicemia is you have bacteria and their toxins inside your blood. Bacteremia is when you only have the bacterial infection inside your blood, which is still a medical emergency. Now, second one is, you know, in your intestines, right from the stomach all the way to the end, that's the anal opening, what you have is a lining of mucus that prevents you from something we call autodigestion, whereby you have digestive juices which can digest you. Also, you have acid which can corrode your walls, but that does not happen because you have a mucus membrane that covers the whole of the inside of your gut. Now, if you clear that, you're exposing yourself to chances of getting infections and something we call autodigestion, and also you're also increasing the chances of introducing a new strain of bacteria by washing off whatever was there. Now, like I mentioned, this is number 3, the disruption of the normal flora, and we've talked about this for quite a long time, because if, for example, I'm sure you talked about this when you were talking about taking antibiotics, whereby you also kill the normal flora and you need to replace that or give it time to grow, for it to grow back. That's when you get diarrhea and other infections. The same thing will happen here. You are removing the bacteria which is supposed to locally be occupying that area. So one, there's several things that can happen. There can be a colonization of that area by a new strain of bacteria, or overgrowth of the adjacent bacteria or the fungal element. So when that happens, you're going to have stomach issues that you introduced by having that same procedure. Also, you're going to disrupt your water balance. Remember, colon is very sensitive when it comes to absorption of water, and this is where your the food solidifies, because this is where most of the water is absorbed. Now, you're putting the same water inside the colon, which is a super absorber. Now, you're absorbing a lot of that water, you're offsetting your electrolytes, you're going to affect your muscles by offsetting your electrolytes, you're also going to affect the kidneys by overburdening them and also not providing them with enough electrolytes that they're supposed to use in balancing the water. So you can see the whole thing, the chain of reaction that you're going to set off by just doing something that is kind of ignorant in a way. Now, why do I not recommend this thing? One, you have to understand that you're just treating the symptom. If you're feeling that after emptying your bowel, you still have something left in your intestines, you need to fix that to know exactly what's happening. One, it might be you're having slow bowel movement, and this can be because, for example, you're pregnant. Remember, progesterone will make the bowel movement to be slow. Or when you're close to approaching your menses, sometimes you'll have that. Or maybe when you're close to approaching your menses, two things can happen. You're getting those stomach bloating, you're getting constipation, or the opposite, you're having diarrhea, food is moving so fast. You're having diarrhea because sometimes, not sometimes, all the time when you're close to getting to your menses, I'm talking about ladies, when you're close to getting your menses, there is something called prostaglandins that is usually produced. They are lipids in nature, and they help in making the uterine wall to contract and shed off the uterine lining, which comes out in form of blood. So sometimes you can overproduce that prostaglandin, and it can spill over to other areas, and that's where, for example, it is spill over to the intestines, and that's where you're going to get those runny stomach. Now, for the slow movement of the bowel, that's when you get constipation. Mostly is when you're pregnant. I'm talking about ladies still, and also when you are close to getting your menses or at some time during your cycle. This is because of progesterone, because it's very notorious when it comes to that. Now, you need to know that that's temporary. It's something that will resolve once you're done with that part of the cycle or you're done with the pregnancy. So what you're supposed to do here is to always make sure that the food that you're eating contain a lot of high amount of fiber, so that you get to form a huge bulk of the stool that will be so that your muscles will be able to get something to hold on to while pushing the contents forward. Because remember, there's kind of a milking, we call it peristalsis, if you remember from biology in high school. Now, if, for example, you're going to the washroom, you empty your bowel, but you still feel that you have something left, or you just go to the washroom, but you don't get something to drop there, it might be because you have an obstruction. Maybe you have a tumor somewhere inside, or a polyp which is overgrowing, and it's making you feel like you have something stuck somewhere. Or due to that, whatever is obstructing your stool, the stool might accumulate behind that place. And this can be, for example, you're going to the washroom and the type of stool that you are passing out is very thin. It's kind of very slender, looks like some strings. So that can be because now the muscles are forcing, because the lumen is that space in between your gut. So the lumen is narrow at some point because of maybe there's a tumor or something just obstructing the movement. So it's forcing its way through a tiny place. So that's where you're going to find that the stool is so slender. So instead of going for hydrotherapy, why can't you just go and get a good imaging, or just go and have a good observation from your doctor, so that they get to fix that, and you're going to fix that forever? Because if you go for hydrotherapy, it means that you're just only treating the symptoms. You will continue. It's like, for example, you have a bacterial infection, but because you are having maybe discomfort, you just take painkillers. So unless you kill the cause of the discomfort, you're going to swallow the painkillers forever. The same case will happen here. Fix whatever is causing that. And this goes to even the drugs that I see online and some other formulations that are sold online, claiming that they are colon cleansers. Fix whatever is causing that. If you fix that, you don't need hydrotherapy. You actually don't need to help your body in moving the stool. You only need to help your body by eating the right food, and just going to the washroom and just letting the muscles do their work. You just don't need to actually struggle. And by the way, you're not supposed to stay in the washroom for long. You're only supposed to go and drop whatever you're dropping and then go. And I think we should talk about hemorrhoids, although we've talked about it, but surely we are going, I think I'll come back and talk about the hemorrhoids in details, and we get to see how we can be able to fix that also. See you in the next video.